Michaelangeloism and Plausible Deniability, Part 1. Divorced women blogs and social media-addled Michaelangeloism. Thoughts by yours truly, Dr. Proof. This is thought number 3, dated October 10th, 2024. Hi there, it's your friendly neighborhood Dr. Proof /Poofy. In this thought, I explain my theory of Michaelangeloism in greater detail. I mentioned it in thought number 1 regarding therapy. I do this by doing a close reading of a divorce coach's video. Pearl Davis's video that inspired me to look into the divorced women trend will be linked in the video description, along with Phoenix Red Luffy's list of things women say in service of Michaelangeloism, nowism, and plausible deniability. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, also hit the subscribe button. I'm going to do my best to release a video every day, usually in service of theories that I've been working on for quite a while. So thanks for being here with me. And if you have any comments or questions, just leave them down below.
So Tia Mowry is reflecting on life 1 year after divorcing her ex of 14 years, Corey Hardrick.
I'm going to just highlight a few clips that I thought were really good, and then I'm going to do a close reading.
Recovering from a divorce feels like a whirlwind journey. So remember, this is a pattern. A lot of times when it's a social media thing, it's always a journey.
She's so right. They always call it a journey.
A version of myself that emerged from the experience. For anyone who is going through this, I would love to hear your experience.
What is the problem with this? She is a high-earning woman. Rich people have different options and different lives. In her montage, she is doing some trip with an elephant. Do you think that's an option for the average woman's budget in this economy? We have a plethora of comments. I love you. I know this journey hasn't been an easy one, but I applaud you for doing the work to heal. My girl has been nonstop growing, working, evolving, and healing. So it's all these women encouraging her. And there wasn't one that said, hey, the grass may not be greener on the other side. Get back with your husband. Not one. Hey, you might be making a mistake. It's all women pushing women to make bad choices.
Oh, God. Okay, in service of Pearl's point, she is right. All these women are gassing each other up, and not a single one's going like, hey, dude, maybe this isn't the best course of action, or maybe you want to slow down, right? But that's not my focus. My focus is on what the woman said. And again, this goes back to the whole idea that therapy is dangerously gynocentric. Doing the work to heal. Like, what does that mean? You took the divorce money and now you're going to go on a boat? Are you going to, ride an elephant? What are you talking about? My girl has been nonstop growing, working, evolving, and healing. It's all these words, these person-centered, Carl Rogers therapy type bullshit, radical acceptance language. It's like, where's the proof that this is happening other than the social media post that she's made about talking about how, man, I love my life now. I'm happy. I got divorced, but sometimes it feels bad. Where in that is the evolution? It's normal to miss someone when they're gone. I don't understand. Anyway, I'm remembering this woman, I think her name is Holly, and she moves onto a boat. Anyway, in that video, Holly was talking about all this stuff that she got, for the boat. She goes to Best Buy to buy an iPad for the kid. She goes to Bed, Bath, and Body Works or whatever and gets all this stuff. And it's she shows her car filled to the brim with stuff. And then she has a shot in the boat. She admits that she did all this other stuff, but forgot to buy food. So her kids are eating bread for dinner. Of all the things to worry about, these women are so focused on this crazy self-healing thing. You know, it's like your kids are hungry. They're eating bread or whatever for dinner.
I don't know how to say this, but these freaking videos drive me up the wall. So not too long ago, I joined Generic White Bitch's Twitter space when she was discussing the topic of the dark feminine, which is basically darker aspects of female nature. It is brutal. People were brutal. We got some really good banger red pillar content out of it. But I used it as an opportunity to talk about a theory I've been working on called Michaelangeloism. The name is, as it implies, it is named after the Great Artist. But it refers to women's deep, biologically compelled desire to be seen as a perfect object in men's eyes, whether that's physically, emotionally, sexually, intellectually, spiritually, conceptually, the list goes on. And this biological compulsion isn't necessarily a bad thing, because the woman is sexually adapting to cultural situations and historical situations to be able to snag the best possible partner. So she might dress a certain way to seem fresh, contemporary, and interesting. She might say certain things, act a certain way, etc. And that's totally fine, you know, because men should want women that they view as beautiful and as inspiring, right? And if a woman is doing that correctly, I think that's a good thing. But how we see that manifesting on social media is a whole different ballgame. You know, we see, if we fast forward, we see some of its results in how women tend to call their exes narcissistic abusers, or how they want body positivity, and, you know, they get upset at anyone that doesn't agree with the body positivity, and it turns into a Me Too situation. So that's like the worst possible scenario, and that goes into my other theory of social castration. But on social media in general, Michaelangeloism is like, has a weird effect because her audience isn't just one-to-one. She's not trying to snag the one guy. The corporate consumer controls that she's using to generate the agreeableness and generate the numbers, the increase in numbers, it informs that Michaelangeloism toward a broader anonymous audience. And as we know, that broader anonymous audience could be a mixed bag. So the Michaelangeloism becomes more of like a defense mechanism in service of protecting against, you know, criticism from what Jordan Peterson calls the anonymous troll. A dark triad, anon trolls, or it's just it's like really unclear who she's responding to unless you know who her audience is. And a lot of times it's not even for monetization reasons. It's just like this like urge to just seem perfect and to not want any criticism and all this other stuff. So it's like all this effort, but it's not in service of breeding. So it's crazy how it manifests, and we're going to see it in this video.
So I'm going boating today with my 2 children, with my unicorn, Jared.
Okay, immediately. She's going boating. Boating is a very romantic thing to do. But right in the beginning, she uses this phrase, my children with my unicorn, Jared. Like, is he your husband, or what's going on here? Is that your boyfriend? Like, you know, calling him a unicorn sounds like she's paying service to him, but it's really about her possession of him. Like, he's her perfect object. But she says, like, my children with him, which implies to me, knowing that she's divorced, implies that she has children with her ex-husband.
And I am just thinking about what it would be like if I was taking my kids that I have with my ex-husband.
Here it goes. Here's the qualifier. My kids that I have with my ex-husband. So, like, these categories or these boxes that she's putting her own children in, she doesn't realize that it's part of the social media version of Michaelangeloism. Because, lady, they're all your kids. They all came out of your vagina, I think. That's what I'm assuming. But nonetheless, they are her children. And, you know, the ones that she has with her unicorn are the ones that go on the boat. But the kids that she has with the not unicorn, her ex-husband, do not go on the boat. Now, we're going to ask ourselves whether this is because the kids are unruly and they don't belong on the boat, or if it's something else.
It would be a completely different feeling, and let me tell you why. I'm taking my 2 kids and have no worry because Dad's coming with us. But if I were to take my other 2, I would constantly be worrying about sunblock. Should they be on the back of the boat?
My 2 kids? What do you mean? You have other kids. You have other kids. My 2 kids are coming along because Dad is coming along. So I guess her unicorn dad, I don't even know if that's her husband or whatever, but Dad is coming along on the boat with my 2 kids, whereas I think she said my other 2 kids, like, she has to worry about sunscreen. Do her unicorn kids not have to worry? Like, are they also unicorns or they don't have to worry about sunscreen?
What if someone takes a picture of them skiing? What's he going to think of them skiing? What's he going to think about when they're really tired and go to exchange tomorrow? I would constantly be thinking about every which way of everything we're doing while we're having fun would piss him off.
So now let's ask ourselves, this narrative that she's spinning, obviously there's an element about it that's relatable to women who are divorced. And it's definitely a ploy to get women engaged with, you know, this idea and have them talk about their crappy ex-husband or whatever. So that's the most immediate layer. But just below that, what even inspired this talk? We can get Freudian with it if we like. I don't really want to do that. That's sort of folklore type stuff, but it really does, you know, beg the question, like, why are you talking about it like this? Other than wanting to speak to her audience and also highlight her relatability as a divorce coach, you know, she's definitely making a comparison. In fact, she says that, you know, she's worried about all these things and like feeling guilty about the fun that she's having. So instead of having fun with all the kids and having to experience the anxiety over it, she'd rather just, you know, suffer the guilt of having fun, but, you know, still maintaining the convenience of not having to worry about her ex-husband. So having to worry about her ex-husband is more important and makes it so the ex-husband's kids don't get to go on the boat, but her unicorn kids get to go on the boat.
And then I would probably talk myself and my children out of doing most of the fun things that were offered to us on this boating trip today, because I wouldn't want him to have to yell at me about how I'm a shitty parent.
Because I didn't want him to yell at me. This Michaelangeloism is so strange. It's so strange because she already has a unicorn partner and she already did the breeding. So what is really happening here? Why has she built this victim narrative? It has like no evolutionary use to her. And arguably it doesn't really have a use for public facing because her unicorn Jared's already with her, already had kids with her. So, you know, if she were to tell this to her unicorn, I would just assume that he's a nice guy and that he would, you know, make sure that it doesn't happen to her. So it's like she's completely compartmentalized her ex in that, you know, any consequences from doing things a certain way would be suffered at the hands of the ex, and like Jared has no part to play in it. It's just so strange. It's very strange.
Because I wouldn't want him to have to yell at me about how I'm a shitty parent, that I allowed our kids to go boating and be in the sun, and heaven forbid they get sunburnt, or heaven forbid they're tired, or heaven forbid they go skiing and fall down. That's my day. That would be my day.
That would be my day. Having to inconvenience myself so that all of my kids could have fun going boating with my unicorn dad. Anyway, Jesus. I just wanted to do a close reading, of this video because there's so many like it, and I could do it with any number of them because that's how much commentary is packed into all of these videos. That's how much neuroticism and emotional reasoning goes into these videos that these women make. But to them, it's second nature, and that's the point of Michaelangeloism. Is that it is definitely a biological compulsion, and it does allow us to adapt very quickly to situations, to really maximize our potential to be seen by the best possible partners. And the fact, like, it is even more strange and more evolutionary, like, when there's no, like, status to be gotten from it. Like, for instance, seeming relatable in this way is also means being seen as flawed, which, if you're trying to like launch yourself into the social media stratosphere, generally speaking, this is not the way to do it. You'd want to seem glamorous or whatever. But also too, if your audience is mostly women, the Michaelangeloism has like a lesbian bent to it. It's like this, long-suffering narrative that all these women share. And in thought number 1 about therapy, I did talk about how, like, the idea of therapy, self-care, self-healing, and all this other stuff has, truly, it's like become pervasive in the female public consciousness. And all the women use all these turns of phrase, like a new chapter in your life, or like everything gets better, it gets better, or I deserve to be happy, or he was a narcissist, and now I'm learning to focus on me. It's just like it freaks me out. By no means am I trying to say that these women, because like I do believe that they're sincere. This woman, I believe she is sincere, which is why I'm talking about the mechanism and the biological compulsion to do it, and the second nature of it. Like, if she stopped to think about it, like, why am I saying this? Like, what does this really mean? I don't know, man. Anyway, I thought that this would be like an interesting topic. I do plan to do more videos on Michaelangeloism because it's like a running practice, and the theory is in development. But at least I have it to a point where I could kind of point it out, as I see it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this concept of Michaelangeloism, and I might do one on Nowism because I think it's kind of funny. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day. Please hit the like button and share if you thought it was great.